quickly.
My name is May Fox, and I am a New York Times bestselling author,
What?
a Forbes contributor, and the founder of your best-selling book, where I teach other people how to write their books.
Oh my God. Beautiful. I have so
Ew.
many questions already.
Okay.
But before I get carried away, let's go ahead and introduce this fine looking gentleman right here.
My name is Patrick Farrell. I am a business technology coach. I am a community builder, and I'm also a master connector. I love bringing people together in beautiful spaces like we're actually in today.
Amazing. So again, so much to unwrap there, but we'll start here. So best-selling author, Forbes. Like, for most of the audience that's going to be paying attention, these sound like things that it's like, how do you even start? Like, where do you even go? So I would love to hear, like, where did that journey start for you? Was it an obstacle in your life? Was it an experience that you had? Did you go to an event like TEDx Boca and a transformation was started there? What was that for you?
Great question. I started at the bottom and worked my way up. And I think that's a good message to give a lot of, especially the younger generation today, where it's like, oh, well, how do I get to the top? Well, I began with a little bit of luck. I had a friend who wanted to write a book. I was 25 years old. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And he's like, hey, you like to write. Let's write a book together. Went to the bookstore, bought a book called How to Write a Book Proposal. Wrote it.
Yes.
Wrote an email to all my friends, said, does anyone know anyone in publishing who can help? Sent it out. One friend of a friend was like, I'll take a look at it and give you some feedback. And then 2 weeks later, she said, we never do this. We're buying the book. And that was Penguin Putnam.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that was the beginning. But then from there, I got ghostwriting gigs and freelance editing gigs, but, like just really starting small and building.
So I have to ask before we move to the gentleman, when you say, like, I just put this in front of this person and then they bought it immediately, quality of the idea is my assumption. You had a really good idea in the book. What do you think was the thing that got them, triggered them to say, no, we're buying this? Because I think that's the dream for all of us, right? But what do you think were the elements that made that happen?
Twofold. One, excellent writing.
We love confidence here. Leave humility out the door. We don't need that.
No.
Yeah,
And two is the topic was sexual fitness. And this is the time that Viagra was just coming out on the market.
Good
So
timing.
the idea was an all natural alternative to Viagra, where it's all about health and wellness and supplements. And it's basically a health and wellness book, but with a sexy title.
Okay, now I'm just kind of like curious. Let's be funny for a second. Was the book 1 page long and says quit porn, or am I completely off?
Well, these were the days when you had to walk into a video store and rent a video in a little black bag.
Or it was like, if you like put on like channel 24 at 2:00 in the morning, and if you like stare really hard, you might be able to see somebody's eye or something, but there wasn't much. It was a thing.
It's good though.
Yeah. So you were talking about technology and a little bit of coaching.
Yes.
You don't hear that a lot. Tech coaches.
Tech coaches. So I actually, by trade, I'm a software engineer from Virginia Tech. I have 2 degrees in electrical engineering from Virginia Tech.
Okay. All right.
But I'm a big advocate of, I believe everyone came into this world with a purpose. I believe they came in with a sole purpose that we're meant to follow. And to discover that and have a community around that idea, we need to actually be doing more of this. We need to be talking. We need to be showcasing our voice to the world. And obviously, we have a ton of technology right here, and using that to get our voice out through our websites, through Instagram, but in our personal brands. So how I do that is actually I built a community called Light Club. And we are a group of spiritual entrepreneurs, coaches, people that love to travel. And I help them build online businesses so they get the freedom to do more of things like we're doing today, which is to hang out and enjoy ourselves and connect with more awesome people and spread our message out to the world.
And like, what a beautiful topic, because I mean, I think that we can both agree, all of us can agree that the way that technology is moving, it's becoming more and more impersonal. Now it's to the point where your own words can be typed out in 5 seconds.
That's
and a
right.
beautiful prompt is knocked out. And it's scary. I can't get home anymore without like turning on my Google Maps and like, okay, how do I get home now? So with all that in mind, how are you bringing the authenticity to tech so that we don't create more of that gap in between?
So I think that something important is to think, how do we use it? Everything is a tool.
Mm.
So is it a tool to suck you into your device, or is it a tool to get you in a room like this with awesome people?
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So I personally love to bring people. I've gone on this thing called Nomad Cruise. We hang out with each other for 2 weeks on a cruise ship at sea. I love to do retreats in Bali. I have one coming up in Croatia. We're on a boat for 12 days on a boat with Croatia. And we like do this content, create, have fun, go to dinner, stuff like that. And just like in-person experiences. But can we use the tool to get more of our awareness out to the world? And then use that to get people in person. I'm also a big advocate like Tony Robbins. Like he uses it. He has this huge online event a couple times a year. Big sales funnel, provides a ton of value, provides a huge transformation experience for like 5 days for free. It's crazy. It reaches like 2 million people now through technology. Gives them that experience, still does the transformation for them, but then obviously it's a sales funnel, and then it gets people to go to UPW and the in-person events, and that's where those in-person events have changed my life. The people I've met at those events are literally some of my best friends now, and that's only one example of one of the things I've done. So
that's and I think that you touched on something so important, which is life-changing moments.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but that's what I live for. I live for those life-changing moments, and we can name them. Might be a handful that we get to experience in our lives, but that's what's really cool about this weekend. We only get a certain amount of handfuls of life-changing moments in our lives.
Yes.
But this Saturday, we're going to be hosting TEDx Boca. Cindy's rocking it over there. And you have an opportunity to have one of those life-changing moments for you. And that kind of stuff only happens when you're in the presence of greatness, like I am and like you will be on Saturday. So we hope that you come out for that. Hope all of you guys come out for that as well.
Come out.
Wow.
And lots to look forward to. So we're going to enjoy the sun, the pool, and we hope that you come out for TEDx.
TEDx.
Awesome.
Boca Raton.
TEDx Boca
Yeah.
Raton. Yeah. Do it.
2 for 1.
Awesome.
All right.
All right, guys.
Thank you. That was fun.
Great energy. Great questions.
More of
Super
that.
fun
More fun
questions.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, next time I come down, I want to do an interview with you.
Please. Whenever you're ready. I gotta go. Okay, I'll jump back in. Can't stop, won't stop. What's going on, guys? So right now we are at an event in Delray, Florida. We don't do the LinkedIn thing anymore. It's boring. Part 2. Here we go. Let's do it. Let's go. Full of energy. We got this.
Hello,
We'll have to
hello.
handhold it. There we go. So we're back.
Yes.
Why don't we talk about relationships?
Oh gosh. Sure. Can you hear me?
We're good on audio?
Good. Okay.
Yeah, Jason.
Come on
get it.
over. This married man over here.
A married
I'll
man.
talk about relationships.
Yeah. Hot mic here. You take this one, I take this one. I think that's how it works.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So, Jason, I wanted to kind of like open up the floor, conversation about relationships. Now, this can be anything. This can be relationships with.
The single guys talking to the 2 married
Let's
people.
see.
with
Let's
children.
see what he's gonna ask,
Let's
right?
rehearse this
No,
stuff.
yeah. Let's
All right, guys. Since I have a lot of experience in relationships,
Mhm.
One too many, it sounds like.
a couple of divorces
keeping them
and
is
lost house
different.
laters, it is.
Okay.
It is. It is. So the topic that I want to talk about, and I think that you could understand me with this, is the difference between, like, I think that people misunderstand love. I think people misunderstand love. It's not the desire or the infatuation. It's like, it's work.
It's work.
It's
yes.
effort.
Yeah.
And I think that us as a society, we look at like desire and infatuation and assume that is what love is.
Yeah.
But that is not a sustainable thing.
No, there's no.
So talk to me about the
instant
work of relationships,
What
Jason.
I always think's funny is the people that have all the answers for relationships are always the ones not married or like
We know
like in
better.
their 20s. They know
We know better.
Giving all the advice out. You know, under the
Yeah.
sun.
Masculine, feminine
I'm
energy.
like, we should be interviewing people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Well, yeah, I'm about to be humbled.
These are the folks
Yeah, that's
that have been through the ups and downs that you're speaking about.
Warren Buffett.
because,
Ask him how he's
you know,
done
every
it.
time I speak to someone else, I go, "Well, now I grow up, it's not going to be like me when I get married. Like, it's not going to end up like that." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?"
They're
Like,
watching too many
when
Cinderella
people have
movies.
children, what you go through, what you witness in the
Yeah.
delivery room,
and how you both
and-
grow.
and how tired you are when
Yeah.
you bring that new home baby, home, and like who's getting up to wipe the baby's behind at 2 a.m, 4 a.m, and
What
like
it was
that's
like
where,
to give birth.
yeah,
Oh.
that too. I
Yeah,
haven't
you
done that yet.
understand that?
I've watched that twice. I've watched that twice.
I
haven't
heard
done it.
I don't know. It's a rumor, but I heard babies shut down like when you turn all the lights off,
Oh,
and
yeah,
then they
is that-
don't make any noise. They're not. Then they wake up with you at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
Is that-
it's
is that true?
That's a rumor. For
It's-
sure.
I've-
Whoever's you're getting your information
Roman
from,
Empire,
make
the
you
Roman
need to-
Empire.
you need to stop following that influencer
All right,
Where are
so
you- where are you getting these?
your
facts
information.
she's single. She's not in a relationship,
Does she have
but
children.
no,
Okay, so she told you that children.
it's something she read on Reddit. I don't know. It was online.
Yeah.
But with all that in mind, what would you say are some of the key elements to keep the desire and that excitement in the relationship? How do you guys do it?
So I
Never
think
say the word relax to your spouse.
Never
When
tell them to
When
relax.
someone-
see
when
how
you say
well
the
trained
word
he is.
Oh, here it.
relax,
She's calling you out.
down immediately.
Calm down.
it
Why would you
transitions-
say calm down?
transitions-
Why would you say relax?
transitions things
Those are
into-
trigger words. We know better.
You have to use the words. You're right.
Well,
Trigger
because
words.
usually at
Like-
that point, it's
Jason.
not the first time we're having the
Right.
conversation.
Right.
Don't tell me to relax.
Now,
Just listen. the
wait, but
first
let's
See, it's
We'll be
let's
good.
yeah, but
Even
let's
having the conversation.
let's break that
Yeah.
down. Let's
Maggie
break
right
this
now
down
is
for a second.
already uncomfortable with the words
Um,
brought up on this podcast.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
a lot of conflict comes from unmet expectations, right? A lot of
Unmet-
conflict comes from unmet expectations.
Communication is
Communication.
People are horrible at communicating.
All right, so teach me better, okay? Some woman in my life asks me to take out the trash. I don't take out the trash. It's not because I didn't want to take out the trash. Maybe I just forgot. But now it may be miscommunicated and they think that I'm just not paying attention. How do we overcome obstacles like this where both of us can be seen?
Well, the priorities are. I think we need to understand each other's priorities. See, a woman's priorities is making sure everything's in alignment and keeping the train moving, right? And so the trash, we don't want to have to tell you to take out the trash. That should have been on your to-do list.
Should have known.
You should have
Jonathan.
known.
Should
You
have known.
No, but it should be something that you care to do because this is part of your home as well. So you should look at the home as our full ecosystem, right? And you want to take care of it just as much as I do. So I think the understanding of what's important to each other, what's each other's love language. So how do you each listen and feel valued? Is really important. So it really truly comes back to communication. But women, I will admit, is that we do expect you to have some level of telepathy that you understand what our needs are.
Jason, don't you love it when a woman says you should have known?
Should have known, Jonathan.
You should have known. I'm not a mind reader, and I've tried to
I'm getting
anticipate
better. I'm getting better. I've been
anticipate
married
expectations,
for
anticipate needs.
for a long time now.
Yeah.
Over 12 years,
That
and then with her
That's a
before,
while.
before that. So
okay.
I've learned to read minds. Yeah.
Is that the only way to survival?
For
It's
example,
mind reading.
you have to know when they are hungry,
Mhm.
right? And have that sense that it's time to go out and get the food they desire
Hunter gatherer.
without asking. Because
Sure.
if you ask, they're gonna not know where to go.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, hold on.
Oh, whoa.
Hold on.
Yeah. Oh, I'm starting to feel it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's some fire in her eyes.
Why do we have
You're in
to
trouble,
tell
Jason.
you?
Go run.
Okay. Yeah. Because now we're gonna get. Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
So why do we have to tell you? You've been married how long?
Oh, Jason, you're in
12
trouble.
years.
Huh?
In 12
12
years.
years. So
He
how
thinks.
many times over the
He
12
thinks.
years has your wife had to give you the same to-do list or ask or request over the 12 years?
If you
I
ask
can
her,
call
she'll
we can
say
call
that
her.
that I'm pretty good. I'm perfect. I'm in the
Here-
one
Here's
percentile.
here's the thing. What happens?
1%.
What happens when the needs are like a moving goalpost?
I don't think they're moving though.
They are. They have for me.
I think
I have elevated, and then the goalpost moves, and then I elevate, and Jason was there for it. Goalpost moved, so I would meet the expectations, but the expectations would change.
well, no, because the ask at that point, for example, you think it's meeting the expectations. There's it depends. Has that been already a level of frustration that was already the below the expectations, and now I'm asking you to just meet me here? You feel like you've gone above and beyond, and I think that's really important to have that level of communication because I don't think it's fair, right? I think that what I've learned is that you're coming from two different worlds. You have two different backgrounds. You have two different love languages, right? What's important to you may not be what's important to your partner. And I think you have to have that level of communication to understand where you are so that when you feel like you're going above and beyond, it's valued and appreciated.
I love that.
I'm calling bullshit on this whole shit.
It's
Honestly,
true.
every time I watch
doesn't
social
like-
media,
His
TikTok,
is definitely not
these
words
are all
of
just
encouragement.
buzzwords for love language and all this stuff.
There's
And it's,
7 of them.
and it's actually
There's 7.
simplified. When we look at fitness, same thing. It's like, drink some water and eat healthy foods, vegetables and fruits, and like everyone.
I like where you're going with that,
complicates
Jason.
things. And
Yeah,
the same thing with finances. It's like it's
the
not that
basic
complicated.
stuff.
Don't spend so much money. And when it comes to a relationship, everyone talks about like 100 million love languages. It's like most
No, there's
men
7.
are quite
7.
simple.
I know them. I know
It's
them.
very basic things that,
He's a
that
one
men
percenter.
require, and it's not 100 different love languages. And for females, there's not a million love languages either. It's give them flowers on Mother's Day, their birthday, a handwritten card, put thought into it,
Take out
and,
the trash.
and communicate and be honest and call people back and just talk more frequently and spend time together and
Jason, you're giving away the secret. How are any of us going to make money doing
like,
this?
the internet has exposed all these buzz terms and complicated things, and life is not that hard, and relationships are easy when you put the hard work into them. But we all want to have these excuses about like, oh, this person doesn't know my love language, or it's not that they don't they don't want to put in the work to just do the basics, right? And it's no different when it comes to health and wellness. It's like drink water. You drink,
Yeah.
5 16-ounce bottles of water every day and not soda, Diet Coke, and alcohol, and see how you feel. You're probably not going to crash as much.
You know what? And
Right?
yeah, and I have to say something to that because Jason, I do believe he's doing it the right way, but it's because he was willing to put in the work,
Yeah.
doing the simple basic things right. So you don't need to overcomplicate the things.
No.
Yeah, I think for me, why I like the love languages and stuff is number one, I find that today it's a lot harder to get deep with somebody without having these frameworks and things to help explain and understand how I feel about myself and how I like receiving love, because we have to shortcut the process now.
But don't you think
Yeah.
us men have
I'll give you an example.
similarities?
I'll give you an
It's
example.
not like we are quite similar, you and I. Like,
Yeah.
we might like different things, like
Right.
from a female, but at the end of the day, we want loyalty, we want trust,
Respect.
we want passion, right? We want to walk in the door and hang out, eat some food, and and
Be
have
excited for
passion together,
life,
go
yeah.
on trips together. But it's
Yeah.
not that different, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
It's
Like,
not, but I think it's because you're good at it, and I think that
You're 1%er.
it's seriously you are, because you do it the right way. You did the simple things right.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of these other people, and if you look at it, and this might be controversial for me to say, but the people that obsess about astrology, the people that obsess about the Enneagram and the tests and the love language and stuff to an extreme, it's almost like manipulative behavior. They want to have a step ahead. They want to have a strategy instead of just letting things fall into place
so it's
organically.
like the placebo effect
Uh,
when it comes to medicine.
it's very. I think it's very
Almost like
similar
put it out there and
because
then
you
believe
can't
it.
force somebody to fall in love with you. That's not how it works.
And love is not all roses. Love is like, is it something that you're worth putting in the work?
It's the call at
Worth
3. It's
putting in the work every day, because you're gonna have, at the end of the day, you are two people, and you're gonna have different growth tracks, right? Different visions, aspirations individually and then together, right? And so it's got to be, am I willing to put in the work every day? And sometimes it isn't just like the flowers, the cars. Sometimes a woman just wants you to listen, wants to have a conversation.
The greatest love that I ever felt was 2:30 in the morning. I was in the middle of the state of Florida and my car broke down. And somebody came in the middle of the night, drove for 2 hours, picked me up, and took me out of that situation. That is the greatest love I've ever felt. And it is through a struggle, it is through a complicated situation. It wasn't roses that I got presented from somebody or like a kiss on the forehead. It was me in the shit.
You were going to say when Tom walked into the Owl Podcast studio when you were going 25 hours straight.
Oh, that was
you're all by yourself in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Zooming with someone.
I saw life between my eyes.
And then Tom walked in, and you're like, "Thank you, I'm not alone."
Hallelujah.
I'm not alone on this 25-hour podcast powered by.
You know what he doesn't? You know what he doesn't include? Tom was on drugs. I didn't know him a lot, and he's very unpredictable in his nature. So
scary.
I was scared.
It was perfect because he entered and I left, and I'm like, "See ya."
So this is the opposite of what love looks like.
Yeah,
He left me there.
3 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning.
He's a one percenter in all aspects.
When a hero comes along and abandons you with a crazy person at 3 a.m.
Jonathan went 25 hours straight on a podcast powered by Celsius Beverage.
Wow.
How many did we
He
drink?
interviewed 22 different entrepreneurs in that period and did over 50 calls on Owl in between. And there was only the small gap between like 3 and 5 a.m. where there wasn't an entrepreneur to interview. And then somehow Tom walked into the room and kept him company.
Yeah.
He was all alone.
Tom. You know what? What's the quote? Like, sometimes you can be in a partnership or relationship with somebody and feel even more alone. That was one of those moments that I felt even more alone. I was like, Jason, I really hope you're coming back in 2 hours and that coffee doesn't hold you up.
But back to the relationships thing.
Relationships
It also kind of comes back to business. It's not sometimes what you pay people. It's those thank yous. It's those good mornings.
The
words, handwritten notes,
kind words.
It's not always,
kind words.
Like people think that, you know, it's the money aspect of like buying the
it's
Range Rover, buying the
values.
vacation, buying the big wedding ring. But often it's those gestures that you're showing that you care. And it relates back to business. When I look at my team, it's taking them to Starbucks and saying, "Hey, let's go get a drink. We're all tired," and just
like literally 30 minutes ago. Literally 30 minutes ago.
So what people never see, at least with my business, when my team has a bad day, I could sense it. And I know not to step on their toes.
That's amazing.
I know not to be a wise ass.
That's a leader.
In those times.
Yeah.
And that's when I try to build humor into the conversation, like putting a sticky note with a joke on their desk, or just like, you know, doing something that I know they'll feel
lighten them
good
up.
about. Like I care about them. Like go out to the store and buy something at CVS that just says thank you, you know, for being part of the team, whatever it might be, or $5 gift card.
And am I wrong? I'm so sorry.
No.
Really quick thought. And am I wrong? The people that I respect the most successful people I know, are the best listeners. They're the people that engage in the conversations and do the little details. And I think to myself, this is the busiest person I know, and they still make time for these things. I have no excuse. And I do think that there's a correlation.
Because that takes thought and effort. Anybody can go buy a card. Anybody can go buy flowers. Anybody can go buy. But to know the person and know when they need to be heard, when they need to be left alone, when they need to be, you know, cheered up.
That's
I think
intuition, and that's where
work.
some people don't have. Right?
Situational awareness.
No self-awareness.
Intuition or common sense. Just being raised in New York, I just like kind of learned a lot when it comes to common sense, and you know, just being around other business owners, like living on Long Island, traveling to New York City, being in front of my father running a business. It's just like you have to sometimes see around the corner. And I think today the issue is it's so easy to shoot an email, send a text message, and people get caught up and like, well, I did something. I texted, I followed up, and like, it's not good enough.
It's not enough.
Send a card that was handwritten that you didn't take the quote from chat. Right?
I'm going to take a minute, guys. Bathroom.
Did you actually do it? Oh, we need Cindy Metzler.
Cindy, come on over.
Come on over.
Live and happening.
Cindy. Vanessa, come on in.
Are you all ready for TEDx Boca Raton on Saturday?
Boca Raton, Saturday.
Saturday. What
we
time?
have a TEDx speaker right here on the show. You
Yes,
were
TEDx.
you were part of
I
TEDx
did
Del Rey.
TEDx Del
Oh,
Rey.
we have Cindy
You
Metzler
have to
herself
come
coming on in.
and
Look at this
Cindy.
lounge area. I love it.
Well, Cindy,
Look at the backdrop.
you get to relax a little
Seriously.
bit.
Seriously.
so wait a second. So we strategically had
Yes.
a conversation about relationships. Two men picked this fine location.
The Roman Empire
Right?
over here.
That's right.
Let's
I love how you're sitting below.
I
You
know.
know,
I seriously went. Seriously, when you were talking, I kept zooming into you because I was like, "This is too weird."
this
right?
is just great backdrop.
good thing I'm sitting on this side of the couch.
Are we live?
Oh, we're live.
Okay.
We are live. It is.
Hello.
guys.
That's
It's
right.
Unleashed.
Drop
So-
trout.
This is Owl Unleashed
So
hour.
this
Oh
is
my
this is-
gosh.
this is after hours on an owl, of course.
A-
So
after
tell
hours.
us, Cindy, what's going through your mind as your phone rings and people are starting knocking your door and getting ready for the
Yeah,
TEDx in the next
That's
48 hours?
right.
What's going through your mind?
Lots of moving parts. We're so excited. May 11th, right? Saturday is the big day. We've got such an incredible lineup. And this woman right here did her own TED Talk, so she knows what it's like coming up to the last minute to the
Yeah.
stage. And we have Angela Hunt. Tell us about Angela, Maggie. You are the conduit for Angela getting on the stage
Aw.
at TEDx Boca Raton, although Angie is amazing and could be on any stage. So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so y'all are getting a treat at TEDx Boca Raton. Angela Hunt is a Grammy Award singer songwriter. She wrote the song Empire State of Mind that Alicia Keys sings. So she is there. She's also, which a lot of people don't know about her, she's a movie writer, like a script writer. She is just a creative genius, one of the most humble people you'll meet. So if
From Brooklyn and
from
Trinidad,
Brooklyn, New York,
Trinidad and Tobago, she was born.
yes,
And
she's a
then
Caribbean
Brooklyn.
queen.
So she's a Brooklyn girl. I'm a New
Yeah.
York girl too. So I love
So,
that.
Yeah. So Saturday is going to be just an amazing event. Cindy has brought on some rock star, talented, New York best-selling.
Yes, we have
Grammy
May
Award
May here
winning.
filming.
I mean, you all are
Okay,
getting
so
the
how?
finest of the finest
Yes,
speakers
no,
on
we're
Saturday.
so lucky. So May Fox, 2 times New York Times best-selling author, Forbes contributor. She is incredible, and she's also a Stanford graduate. She's going to be talking about storytelling, right, and how it heals trauma. And I'm hoping to get a little news segment on tomorrow. I'm waiting to hear back from a couple of the local stations. So I'm going to hopefully bring May to the TV stations to talk about TEDx Boca Raton. And this happens to be Mental Health Awareness Month, and it ties in so well with your talk, May. It's incredible. Yeah.
And as a mother, I think this is a great Mother's Day gift. So bring your mamas over to this Saturday to
Oh, that's
network
right.
with such amazing
Yes,
women.
and Owl has been a partner. Well, actually, Shrimp Tank, Owl, and Jason right here has been a partner.
Triple play over here.
That's right. Since the
Almost 5
beginning.
years, right?
Since
We
the
got 5
beginning.
months, yes.
Yeah, it's incredible. And the TEDx Salon, so 8 times. This is our 8th event. So very, very exciting. And there was something else I wanted to mention about TEDx that's really, really
Yeah, why did you start TEDx?
yes. So I love basically amplifying voices, I think, that need to be heard. And TED is a global platform. So one of the things that brings me joy, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, is for example, last year, Dr. Margaret Rutherford, she got on our TED stage. Her talk has gone viral. I know for a fact her talk is literally creating a ripple effect, saving lives out there because people hear her story and her idea where it's spreading, and it is changing people's lives. And that's the beauty of TED. And I just can't wait to hear May's talk because I know it's going to be a similar effect, like creating that ripple, really touching so many different people. And that's why I do it. I get so much joy out of it. And I feel like we're very, we curate these speakers. We get hundreds of submissions and these speakers, and we look through all of the applications and really try to
identify talks that will resonate and that are meaningful and that will really help people out there, because everyone needs help, right? It's one of those things that you know, community is so important, and TED has created this incredible global platform where messages can get out there and really change people's lives for the better. That's the whole point of it,
And
honestly.
voices like Ellie Santra's over here.
That's
right?
right, Ellie. And tell us why you're involved with TEDx all these years.
That's a good question. Ellie, grab the mic and we're going to talk about it right now. So,
Yeah.
you know, we've been a partner each and every year. It was actually because of Cindy, we created the interactive podcast with the Shrimp Tank. So we started with podcasting with FAU and interviewing all these business owners. And Cindy's like, why don't you bring the studio out to TEDx one year? And it was just so cool. We brought it out just like we're doing right here. And we put an outbound speaker out, and everybody walking around during the beginning of TEDx would just get to listen to some of the TEDx speakers, you know, just naturally like we're doing now, not on stage, no pre-scripted questions. And it was raw. And then people were just excited. You saw everyone with their iPhones out, capturing video. And then ever since that, we've just improved year after year. And we are just making such major impact because other people that don't get to come on a podcast get that experience. They get to sit in a booth just like this and pretty much just
Well,
you know,
not
share their
just
story.
like
Yeah,
this.
no, it's a little different.
It's a little bit
We're
different.
not in a mansion.
It's branded.
But we
Branded a little
red
differently.
carpet, and we have, you know, the owl logo, whatever event we're at. But I feel like it really is. It's becoming our thing, thanks to
Yes.
Cindy, and like
Yes.
it's becoming now. People are going to events, seeing our booth, and it's becoming like the highlight of the booth because everybody has a story. Everybody wants to talk about what they do, and some people have never been on a podcast before. And we've had so many people. This is what I'm manifesting right now, and I've always wanted to. This is my first podcast, and I'm so excited. And not only that, we then give them footage that they can take with them from the event, go home. We're creating this like new business on the go almost at events.
Like a pop-up podcast.
Yeah, pop up, and then they can use our app, which I don't know if people obviously I don't know where we're streaming right now, if it's on
Everywhere,
Owl.
it's on Owl.
Owl.
But yeah, then they can use Owl to then connect with each other after the event. So
Experts.
yeah, so
Amazing.
basically for those of you guys, I feel like this is the founder, he should explain what it is. I can explain it,
You're
but
really
You're
great
the-
at that.
You're the marketing
though.
director over here.
I guess so. Okay, so
Very simple. You want to get in touch with Cindy after TEDx, she's on Owl. And very simply, she will make herself available and you get access to call her at a set rate. So someone like Cindy will price herself at $10 for 10 minutes or $30 for 10 minutes. And pretty much you'll get a text message or
Or
notification.
$100 for 10
And
minutes.
pretty
Yeah.
much you could pick her brain about anything under the sun. You could talk to her about, you know, what it's like to go through the process to be a TED speaker, and she'll give you pointers. A lot of people do it inaccurately and they think it's about motivation and, you know, certain topics that we see motivational speakers speaking about, but it's usually not. So she'll give you a lot of those pointers, but she also runs a PR firm. So she'll tell you what it really takes to get on the news or into Forbes magazine. And the beauty of Owl is it gets you in touch with hard to reach professionals, and it keeps it very professional because we're not sharing your cell phone number. It's
Lots
all
of
in our phone.
podcasters on there too.
Tons of
yeah,
podcasters.
tons of podcasters, and it's not just for getting advice. Sometimes it really is just about connecting with someone, networking, you know, just trying to build new relationships. It's not always specific. Sometimes I'll just get in the car and just play a fun game where I scroll down and it's instant connection. So it's the only app out there where people are live on the app and you can just call them right in the moment. There's no scheduling needed ahead of time. So it's really on the go, whatever you need. If you're like, I'm bored, what should I do? I want to network with someone. Click call and they're right there on the other end. So
Yeah, and it's also like what I think is beautiful about it. There's so many coaches out there now, like coaches of all different kinds, shapes, and sizes, like whether it's nutrition, wellness, health, mindset. It's an opportunity for them to monetize because a lot of people getting into the coaching business, because I know we get tons of applications for TEDx that are coaches, right? And it's a great way for them to monetize what they do because coaches that are just leaving their corporate job and getting into coaching, a lot of them are trying to figure out how to monetize their expertise and building their business. And Owl gives them that opportunity.
it is Owl app. But it's spelled OWWLL app. Yeah, it really is a lead generator. But it's also a chance for people to
Community.
just community and to get a taste. So how many times have you been like, oh, I might want to try this coach or talk to this person, but like I don't know. It's like a trial run almost. You can talk to someone for 10 minutes and get a sense if you vibe with them, if you like their energy. Even for you, like if you were trying to pick speakers for TEDx, like for you to be able to just get on Owl, talk to people, you can feel like who's legit, who you're vibing with just in this short conversation.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing about the pop-up podcast at TEDx is, and all of the pop-ups that you do, but at TEDx you do get to get a little glimpse of them and their talk or their personality or their background before they actually get on stage. And you get to have a little interaction. So we're going to be doing that. The VIP booth at TEDx Boca Raton is actually going to be available at 3 o'clock. So the TEDx starts at 4, but we're having a VIP experience at 3 o'clock. You can buy tickets. We're actually having a 2-for-1 ticket. It's $250 to get into the VIP section. So it's just a limited amount of people that can come because it's only for speakers and sponsors and VIPs. And we have a 2-for-1 now, right? VIP 2 at checkout on TEDxBocaRaton.com on Eventbrite, and you will get 2 people in for the price. And it's really cool because you'll be able to get access because, there's going to be almost 600 people at TEDx. And if you see someone like Angie that we talked about, who's a Grammy Award winning singer,
Yes, me. I was literally
songwriter.
like, I want to
Yeah.
meet her so badly.
I know. And you'll be at the VIP booth.
I know.
Exactly.
So are we going to be doing the group on Owl for TEDx? I don't know if we, or for I think Sisterhood for Success has a group because one of the beautiful things that we just started is when you go to an event, we create a category on the app that literally says TEDx or Sisterhood for Success. So when you leave the event, if someone like I wanted to speak with her, I could go to that category and find every single person who went to the event. And then I'm not bothering them because I'm actually paying. Hey, I want to pay you for your time to chat with you. I didn't get to speak with you at TED because how many of these people probably get DMs on Instagram or LinkedIn? Like, can I get your advice for free? And they're like, some people they're humble, they're willing to give advice. But after a while, it's like, we just get time and time again. I'm tired I spend so much time giving free advice out and it's exhausting. So
I think I know I love it, but it's like there's only 24 hours in the day and we have families and kids and obligations and work. So, I think everybody loves to give, but there's only so much you can give, right? So, Pam, tell us about you, and May, we're going to bring you back up.
here, why don't
I'm going to switch out. Oh, you are? Okay. Yay.
I was gonna say we could set you on it if you want to. I do this all the time, so I'm like, you should do it. Like, if you want to get on here, we can set your phone up. Do we have the other? I have a tripod in my car.
Okay, perfect. Let's do it. Yeah. Oh, that's perfect.
I do this all the time. Like,
Oh,
you
that would be
guys, like,
perfect. Let's do a live.
Do we
and
have
then
another tripod, or should I get one out of my car?
if you have one in the car, I don't know.
I'll send this one and just.
Because she wants to go live, though.
I have a tripod. I have a tripod right here. I have another.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're gonna. Yay!
Like,
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Of course, yeah. No, but you need to.
You're
You're
good
the.
at it. I'm like,
You're
I'm
one
gonna
of the stars of the event.
I need to get a charger too.
Do you still have the charger?
Oh yeah, there's
Here.
a charger right there.
There's a charger.
My phone's. Yeah, my phone is.
You guys are live, so keep.
Oh, hello. Okay, here we are with Pam, Miss Wonder Woman. Seriously. Okay, tell us about you, Pam. You're incredible. Another nonprofit founder and incredible woman and author, and the list goes on and on and on. So tell us about you, Pam.
Well, first, I'm so lucky to be here with you. You're so
Aw.
wonderful. I wish I could be at TEDx this weekend.
I wish you were here too.
Wishing all the best for everybody. But came down here just to spend time with all these incredible people. I run a nonprofit, and like Cindy was saying, I launched a children's book last year as well, and getting ready to launch a few other things in benefit of the foundation this year as well. So, but my foundation main focus is to support and give scholarships to survivors of sex trafficking. We support them by giving them scholarships to share their stories so they can write through healing, and then we're educating the public at the same time. So it's been very rewarding for them, and yeah,
I think it's so beautiful, and your
really
personal story is so tied into that. But share with us, the viewers, about some of the women that have gone through your program and how what the difference it's made in their lives.
Yes. So, example. So I have Alicia Tappan, who is just an incredible woman, extremely strong. She was trafficked when she was in high school by her high school coach up in Michigan.
Wow.
So her sharing her story was very important because these are things that are happening in her own backyard and people don't really realize it. So she's shared her story. She's actually gone on to school. She's getting her PhD.
Wow.
She's out there advocating. So she's actually getting into the jails to speak with girls. So she's
Amazing.
going on to do big things. So her getting the scholarship, she was just. It came at a time when she couldn't have asked for more. So
Yes.
this is going to enable her to now advocate further, get on stages, and really make a bigger difference in the world. Because a lot of
creating that ripple effect we were talking about.
it's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
So it's pretty special. It's pretty special.
No, and people need to know because it's something that I don't know if you have any statistics, but it's something that is so prevalent. And it's like, I know in Florida, for example, this is a crazy statistic that I learned. Florida is the number 3 state in the United States for sex trafficking, and Palm Beach County is the number 3 county in Florida.
Mhm.
And you would never think that Palm Beach County, Palm Beach, it seems from the outside looking in, but there's so much, and actually there's an organization called the Hope Foundation that produced a movie called Invisible locally, and I brought it to, a lot of people saw it, but I brought it to my kids' school several years ago when they were, younger in elementary school, and for them to share with the parents, because it's something I think that so many parents are not educated about,
Very true. And now it's cyber. So
Yeah.
we need to be really educating our kids on what's happening online, because a lot of the times the predators then they seek the vulnerable online before anything actually happens. So it's a lot more serious than people are really considering. So, and I think people are becoming more educated. Some movies have come out recently that have helped that conversation
Mhm.
get started. But I think there's so much more work to do for people to really know what's going on in our communities.
So what you say again, what is your name and the name of your organization?
Pamela Bellato, and my foundation is Mission Wonder Woman Foundation. So
Yeah, it's
Yes.
incredible. When are you going to do your TED Talk, Pam?
next year,
We're putting it out there in the universe.
Absolutely.
Putting it out there.
I'm so glad that you brought up the fact that this is happening, first of all, in our backyard, because I think that we can be under the impression of that this is something that happens in other parts of the world, right? And secondly, the cyber
Component, yeah,
which is,
so scary.
which I've read about recently, but you must have encountered that a lot of just even people being lured in through just something so simple and innocent at the beginning, and then it escalates very rapidly.
very rapidly. Yep. And
Yeah.
it's coercion. So they use tactics for coercion, and people don't realize, but probably it's 90% of the time it's somebody you know. And people think it's always stranger danger, but that's the reason we want to get the stories out, because a lot of the times it's somebody you know, and they've used tactics to get to you to make you trust them because they, you're familiar with them. So, it's not the stranger danger. It's typically somebody you know. So,
Wow.
know, like, and trust.
And what specifically does your organization do? You're helping raise money. You're
Yep. So we raise money so that we can give these survivor scholarships. So I pay everything from A to Z for them to work with a publishing house. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
So they tell their story, and then you've had a couple of events with the women too, right?
I do. I go in and I do retreats. So I'll go in.
And she did a Guinness Book of World Record. Tell us about that to raise awareness for sex trafficking. Yes.
So I thought, what could I do to raise awareness for my foundation? I wanted to do something big and bold, and so I thought, I'll try to get a world record.
What was your world record?
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
So I climbed on a stair machine for 24 hours, and I beat the world record by an additional 6,000 stairs.
Can you imagine? She's like, I'm just going to do Stairmaster for 24 hours.
It came to the equivalent of 2 Mount Everests in 24 hours. So I climbed 2 Mount Everests in 24 hours.
This woman, you think, okay, wait, she lived in Kuwait for 10 years.
I lived in the Middle East for over a decade.
She speaks Arabic. Seriously. She looks like, yes, and French too. Yeah, it's amazing.
Canada, so
Yeah,
East Canada, so
yeah.
I grew up French and English.
Incredible. Yeah.
Cindy, I want to hear more about you. Okay, because we're going to do TEDx Boca Raton Saturday, May 11th. If you're anywhere in the
4
Miami
o'clock,
area, we still have
join
a few
us.
tickets left. I will be speaking, and Cindy is the incredible organizer. And I just want to, you guys should know, like, it takes so much time, energy, money to put on a TEDx event. It is really, and it's all volunteer. So I would like to hear, Cindy, how did you get started? What made you say, I want to start organizing TEDx?
Well, it's so funny because I wanted to host a women's conference actually, and weirdly, I had put that kind of out in the universe and in my mind. And my friend Eric, I've been involved in the technology community in South Florida for about 20 years. And even in New York, when I first moved here in the late 90s, when the dot-com bubble was really big, and then all of a sudden it burst, right? Just involved in technology, and Eric was too. He's my cohort at TEDx, my partner, and we both were really into the community. And he came to me 8 years ago in 2017 and said, is that 8 years ago? This is our 8th one. Yeah. So he said, I have the opportunity to take over the license for TEDx Boca. There was someone else that had been doing it for a little while on a different scale. And I said, you know what? I literally was just talking to someone about hosting a conference. I really wanted to put something out there. I said, this could be, the start of something. And so the first year, this is crazy. We had 93 meetings on the calendar, 93 meetings with sponsors, speakers, the media. I marked them because, I track everything. And then, when I did my taxes, I was like, oh, let me see how many meetings I had for TEDx. And hopefully like some of that crossed over to regular, but of course, I don't think we do 93 a year anymore. But the first year, there was a lot of meetings that we went to get this off the ground, because in the beginning we hosted it at FAU. It was we had 100 volunteers. We had 1,300 people. We've moved locations to the Boca Innovation Campus, who graciously, works with us. And they're incredible. The Boca Innovation Campus is IBM's former headquarters and where the birth of the personal computer was. The personal computer for IBM was born at the Boca Innovation Campus. And a lot of people, it was so funny because when I first moved here from New York, so many people were like, oh my goodness, you're going to, Florida and you're in your 20s, right? Like, what are you doing? And I said, this is, I said, oh, a little thing called the personal computer was born in Boca Raton, because in the beginning I did have, like in the late 90s, I had a lot of tech clients that were kind of spin-offs from IBM, because that there's a little cluster there of a lot of entrepreneurs that left IBM and started like speech recognition companies or voice over IP. So when Eric approached me, and he has an incredible background. He, you know, has an MBA from MIT, and he's an engineer 2 times over at FAU. He has a couple startups, and he knows what I'm passionate about. And we both just saw this opportunity and said, you know what, we can really bring something really cool and valuable to South Florida and to Boca. And so, yeah, we jumped right in, had the first event, was a huge success, and then it's just kind of been history from there. It's every year though, we have like lots of moving parts and lots of surprise things that come up and lots of expenses we weren't anticipating. So, you know, it's just one of those things that's a labor of love. And I love, like, I'm just so excited about May getting on stage. I love, like, when I hear stories like Pam's,
Damn, your story is
thinking,
amazing,
oh my
too.
gosh,
Wait,
just,
have you been to TEDx events in the past?
yeah, she
Did you
flew
go back?
I
in.
have.
Yes.
I did.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
and
I
you
did.
flew in for
I
this.
did.
Yes.
That's amazing. So, what was your favorite talk last year?
Joy. I
Oh, yeah,
resonated
Joy's
with
was
joy.
amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What was that about? Tell us a little bit.
Well, she talked about her journey being an athlete, and how she got to where she was. But I
She's a 19-time Ironman
yes
at 40,
What?
48 years old, I think,
Yeah.
48,
And
49.
children, 5
Yeah,
kids.
5 kids.
What?
Yes.
You guys don't know what an Ironman is. What's
Yeah.
an Ironman? It's a
Yeah.
marathon,
Well, it's
Swim,
running,
running.
biking.
but it's not just run, swim, bike. It's like
No,
you
this
run
is
an
tough.
entire
No,
marathon.
It's
You bike like
intense.
something like 112 miles, and you swim like 2 miles. Which, if you're not a swimmer, that's a
Yes.
lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
She keeps trying to convince me to do one. But
Oh, yeah, we talked about it. She was here yesterday.
Stairmaster world record.
Yes,
man.
exactly.
Come on.
Exactly.
Okay,
So that's
so
a
what
problem.
made it a great talk?
It was just the way she did it was very inspiring to me, and I could resonate. And because I could resonate with her, I just felt that's who I wanted to go talk to at the end.
Mhm.
Everybody did really well.
Oh, yeah.
But I
Every
just-
single talk was amazing. It
yeah,
really
but
was.
I really did enjoy.
Was it sort of motivational,
It was, yeah,
inspirational?
inspirational, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah. And you also, like, you're an athlete at heart too. I mean, you
Clearly.
tell us tell us about your athletic background too.
Well, years ago, I kind of started in being an athlete by boxing. So I was the first female amateur competitive
Who
boxer in
is
East
this
Canada.
woman?
I know. I said every time I talk to her, she tells me about this new.
Or
It's
if you
crazy.
just joined us, I just want to say, if somebody just joined us, she has told us that she lived in Kuwait for 10 years and speaks Arabic. Beat the Guinness Book of World Records for stairmastering for 24 hours.
24 hours.
As a nonprofit that helps victims of sex trafficking.
Yeah. Well,
And
she.
now you're gonna like what?
I
Yes.
used to box. Yes,
You used to
I've
box.
had 9 fights.
No, and then I saw a photo of you on LinkedIn, and you were this literally a serious bodybuilder.
I was
Yes.
a bodybuilder when I turned 40.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
Yeah, had never bodybuilt before,
Oh my
and I
gosh.
thought, I really, because of my story, and when I lived in the Middle East, I was in a relationship where I really wasn't. It's really hard to say allowed, but I wasn't. I wasn't allowed to really wear a bathing suit or anything. I was in that type of relationship. So when I left and I decided that I wanted to do bodybuilding, I thought, you know what? I'm going to buy the most sparkly bikini I can find.
Oh my
God.
I am going to.
And you're gonna own it. You're gonna own it.
Anyway, that's what I did. That's why I did it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so wait, there's another layer here. Wait till you hear this other layer. Tell us about your book about. Yes, she wrote a book about cleft.
I did.
Cleft
I
lip.
wrote a children's. I was born with a cleft lip, so yeah. So I do mentorship for girls that have clefts. So I wrote a children's book about my journey growing up with a cleft and finding my confidence. And yeah, so
Tell us the
hopefully-
name of the book and where people can find it.
Well, it's called The Little Girl Who Discovered Her Smile. So we're actually getting it back up on Ingram Spark because we changed a couple things after I got the world record.
Yeah.
Because it has bios in the back because we had
Oh,
some
right.
special
Sure.
characters in the book.
Mhm.
So it will be available on Amazon in the next month again. So
Okay,
yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah. And then Mount Everest. We didn't talk about that either.
Oh yes, tell us about Mount Everest. We've got John here. Maybe
We all have Mount Everest to climb, don't we?
Yes, we do. But this one, literally,
This is
tell
literal.
us.
But in 2021, that was one of my first big challenges. Is I wanted to test my mental fortitude. So never climbed a mountain before, never hiked, never did anything. So I just went home one day and I told my husband that I wanted to climb a mountain. So I thought, why not start with going to Mount Everest in Nepal? So as soon as the mountain opened, we were one of the first groups that got back on the mountain after COVID.
How important do you think it is to have those crazy audacious goals?
Very important.
Tell me about that. Yeah.
It shows you what you're truly capable of. I didn't
Mm.
know if I could do it. I didn't know if I get sick. I didn't know. I mean, you're trekking through the Himalayas for 3 weeks. It was special because I discovered myself in the mountains because you're there, just you in the mountains, and you have time to think. And I cried when I got to base camp, and it was
How did you
and
feel, like, physically? Because I know
Mm.
they say just the air. I actually, okay, this is a long time ago, you guys, but when MySpace was around, I don't know if
Cindy, you stop it. I had MySpace.
seriously.
Be really careful how long your G's go. Long time ago. Not that long.
Okay.
Not that long, please.
No. So I had a client who climbed Mount Everest, and a local Fortune 500 company chronicled the whole entire experience. He was a fireman
What?
and he worked for the company, and we chronicled it on MySpace, so it was a really, really
Can we touch on that? Like, that is super innovative. I didn't even know that was a thing. You've been using social media in that way since MySpace days. Can you bring us into that a little bit? How is it
Well,
different?
Oh,
Yeah. Look at all this variety,
So-
diversity.
Yeah, there's so many things that I forget about. I'm like, it just made me think of it when you said that. But the thing is, I know because we felt like we were living it with him. He was taking us on that journey through Mount Everest, and I mean, people die doing that. Like, it is not for the faint. I mean,
Mhm.
the air, the oxygen, the skin, like everything. And he was like a hardcore paramedic fireman, like really like fitter than fit. And he said it was incredibly challenging physically. So tell us about that, Pam.
I actually felt really great up until probably the
Wow,
the-
she just
Somebody's
did 24
masochistic.
hours on the
it was when we were actually descending that I felt my feet starting to hurt. I lost a couple toenails.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So but I knew after that I just knew I could do just about anything. And
May,
I
I'm gonna
had,
videotape you,
I had
and I'll go on
a-
TEDx Live again.
I had a
How about that?
videographer come with me actually, so I do have it, the footage of the entire.
Now, what I have to know is, were there? You can cross it. Yeah. Were there moments where you wanted to quit?
Oh yeah.
Were there moments where you were like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me, and then maybe talk us through what helped you kind of like overcome that, and then say, you know what, no, I'm gonna dig my I'm gonna dig in, and I'm gonna overcome this. Yeah. What was that moment for you?
I remember there was one night we reached one of the tea huts, and we were sleeping. So you only get like this tiny wood bed with a very thin mat. It wasn't even a mattress to call it, but it was so cold, and I had 2 pairs of gloves on, 3 pairs of socks on, 2 hats, and I couldn't get warm, and I was missing my kids and my husband, and I just felt alone, and I was in the room just shivering, and I got under the thing, and I turned my phone on, and it reminded me of Blair Witch Project when you're in the.
Which I heard they're doing a reboot of, by the way.
Are they? Are they?
So I have that video of crying in my sleeping bag. But yeah, it's just I got up the next day and I was like, no, I'm okay. I got my boots on and we just kept going. So, but I had moments. I had moments where I felt like I couldn't keep going. It was moments of loneliness and, because you're going through like freezing and, you're in the middle of nowhere and by yourself. And,
Yeah.
I went by myself. I just met the group when I got there. So,
What never surprises me, like when I sit here and I listen to people like you, when I'm at events like TEDx Boca, right? When I'm in these places, what always fascinates me is it seems like you almost have to live an interesting life in order to stand out. Because like when you tell me a story or your story of climbing Mount Everest, it's like you have to go out there and experience life. For somebody that's, like they feel stuck or they've got a 9 to 5 job or they're just like everything is very routine. Go find your Mount Everest. Go find that thing that is going to make you feel alive. You want to feel alive? Go do something that'll make you feel alive.
I totally agree. I also think like what I love about events like TEDx Boca, and I loved what Patrick, who was here earlier, was saying, is it's also about when you surround yourself with people, like if, when I meet you, Cindy, Pam, like it motivates you, it inspires you, it uplifts you. And so surround yourself with people who have that kind of energy. I mean, it's transformational, don't you think?
Which goes back to you. You didn't have your husband there. I didn't know that. You didn't have your kids there. I didn't know that.
Or you didn't even go with a group of I was like, you must have been with a group of friends or something.
I had just met them when I got there. Didn't know anybody. Yeah.
But even though you didn't know anybody, because if you go to an event like TEDx Boca, you might be that shy person that I don't know if I'm going to talk. You didn't know anybody and you were in a very dangerous situation. But how did the community come together? Even though you didn't know them.
By the end of it, we were all brothers and sisters.
I'm sure. You must have all been best friends.
Yes,
Yeah.
And like an event like this, an event like TEDx, it's like when you're kind of like on the same frequency as everybody else, we connect so fast, right? We connect so fast. And that is why events like this, even if it's an hour, 2 hours, it doesn't matter how long you commit to it. As long as you're on that same frequency, yeah, you're going to see a change.
And it's an event where it's like, because there are events you go to, they're fine, but it's people are very self-promotional. They're in that kind of like, I'm selling you something
Right.
mode. And then I think like when you go to a TEDx, one of the things I love about TED Talks and TEDx events is people aren't selling stuff. They're there to meet. They're there to connect. They're there to like, oh, what do you do? Why are you here? So
Well,
and learn.
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say, I mean, you never know who you're going to hear and what you're going to be inspired by. So you could go and you don't know what you're going to walk out and your heart's going to feel because you're going to hear somebody's story of what they say, and that happened to me last year when I heard some of the talk.
And also, I'm a creature of habit. I like consistency, right? If I go to McDonald's in France, I know it's going to taste like the one across the street from my childhood home. There's something special about that, and that's also why I like TEDx, is because it follows a formula. I know what I'm getting. I know the format because I can't tell you how many times I've gone to a keynote and the guy's putting me to sleep or the message isn't connecting. I like that there's a little bit of a formula. I know what I'm getting when I come to one of these experiences, no different than a McDonald's or a Subway anywhere in the world. So that's also a really special thing. Yeah.
Sharing their stories, and people have imposter syndrome, so you don't have to be a real Mount Everest climber.
No.
You don't have to be a New York Times bestselling author 2 times over and a Stanford graduate to do a TED Talk or to have an important story to be told, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that is part of my talk on Saturday. Since my talk is the story cure, how storytelling can heal our hearts and our world. And one of the messages is, little spoiler here,
We're getting exclusives right now, guys. Exclusives. Yeah.
teaser.
Bring it.
Everyone has a story.
Mm.
It's exactly what you said, Cindy. So you could think like, I didn't climb Mount Everest. I don't host a podcast. I don't organize a TEDx. Have you had a child? Have you survived cancer? Have you
Betrayal,
with someone,
self-sabotage,
have
imposter
you overcome an
syndrome.
addiction? Do you have imposter syndrome? Right? Everyone. And as a parent, that's what it's just saying. I mean, a pet. I don't know anything. You have a story, something that helped you get through life, a challenge you faced, something you've overcome, and you sharing your story. This is the other thing people say when they come to my course. They're always like, "There's a billion books out there." Yes, but there's not a book by you.
Oh,
Somebody
oh.
out there, like Cindy, in my case, read my Forbes article and was like, maybe she needed to hear it from me, not because I'm like some divine master. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, sometimes it's like you could hear it a million times. You can like read it in spiritual books, but I needed to hear it from you, Pam. Like I needed to hear from you. Get yourself out of this difficult situation, or whatever it is.
Right.
There
Absolutely.
you go.
I
There's a
agree.
little spoiler.
I agree. Yeah. And I remember my mentor shared it. He said something along the lines like the things that we consider the most personal are actually the most general, and that's really when I heard that, it clicked. I was like, because I always had a resistance sharing on social media. And then when I started to, and the more I leaned into, let me tell you the real shit, that's when it really started to work and people connected.
Okay, so what do you do? Tell us about yourself. I don't even know.
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
talking to
So,
my Instagram.
uh,
John, all I
I'm a
know
little
is you're
crazy.
involved in this thing. With
Yeah,
Al Matt,
so
but-
I'll give you a little bit of the extended one. So, I started my career as a professional wrestler, like WWE entertainment wrestling. So I did that for 6 years.
1,000 questions about that.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
all right, okay.
So I did that for 6 years. I got fired, and then I became a forensic accountant. That's what Dad did. So it could not be further.
Forensic accountant.
It's an accountant that focuses on investigations and auditing. So it is so boring, but it gave me a great left hemisphere, great business mindset. And then you had the entertainment with the right hemisphere. Boom, you'd put those two together.
Wow.
You got a good combo. So then I moved into digital marketing because I didn't like the accounting. It was boring. And as soon as I found my voice, it was off to the races. Joined the circus and never looked back.
Where can we find you? What's your?
Oh, I'm everywhere.
What's
I'm everywhere and nowhere. I don't have a website.
Okay.
I don't have any content on like my social except for LinkedIn. All word of mouth. It's just like I do have the experience on LinkedIn.
Well, tell us where we can find you on LinkedIn.
On LinkedIn, you can search my name, the most marketing man in the world, Jonathan Palmer.
Jonathan Palmer. There you go.
We have paid him to take down his profiles. He's exclusively the Owl brand ambassador, and you could only call him on Owl. No other platforms will he respond.
Crazy story about Owl, how I got connected with Owl.
Let's hear that.
Back in 2018, there was an owl that's like sat on my perch, and we're in the middle of Florida. It's November. It's cooling down, but there's no owls in Miami, like hanging out at condos, like on the 18th floor. So the owl would come on the 1st and the 18th. I've got photos. I'll show it to you. And then I was like, what does this all mean? So then I really believe in spirituality and, like we get signs. Yep. The universe will send us signs.
I saw the signs.
Yes. Then I meet Jason in 2020. We're at an event and then he's like, hey, John. And you know how Jason is. Hey, John, you need to download this thing. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And he's kind of taking me through it. And then an owl. Wait a second. And I literally had an owl necklace that I carry. It's like a totem, right? And I carry it. And when I saw the owl, it looked so much like that. I was like, Jason, I don't know what the offer is. I don't know how much it costs. I don't know the deal, but I'm going to work with you. And it led to all this.
Oh my God,
yeah.
goosebumps.
Yeah. And I'll show you the photo once
That's
we're done
amazing.
with this. But I just let the universe tell me where to go, and it always leads me to the right place. Oh yeah. I was the torch boy. So I ran with a torch from city to city, and I would never make it to the wrestling ring. They'd always like clothesline me or choke slam me or attack me or do something. I just wanted to pass the torch to the champion, never could do it. So that was the storyline. So I keep the hair long and the size big just in case they call one day. I am ready to go. So, yeah. It is 1,000% orchestrated, but worse because I know I'm going to be put through a table. So it's like I still know I'm going through a table. I could just anticipate it and fall as correctly as I can. I'm still getting hit in the chair hit the head with a chair, and they're real chairs. They're not fake chairs. So I'm hit with a real chair.
I didn't know this whole backstory, Jonathan.
You didn't know the WWE thing.
I didn't know this whole thing with owls. I thought,
oh yeah,
I went to Podfest Expo, and I saw it on your screen.
I didn't even look at the contract.
You played hard to get this entire time.
I
Because then after Podfest, I had to continuously hassle you. It
yeah.
took like 8 months.
I'm sorry. We had
Finally
restraining
get you into my
orders.
office to have
had-
that conversation.
We had dual restraining
And
orders. It was a
eventually
whole
you're
thing.
like, okay, I'll give Owl a shot.
I guess so.
We'll work together. After I had to twist your arm like 12 times. So I don't remember the way he's talking about it.
I think I was like down to my last $290,000, and I thought to myself, if I could just add one to it, let me work with Jason.
Well, why don't you bring in our guests?
Yes, let's go. So, who is this lovely woman that we have joining us right now?
My name is Paige.
Your name is Paige. Paige, are you new to the podcasting world?
Yes.
Have you ever listened to podcasts before?
I used to, but not as much now.
So
Kinda
then,
fell off of it.
how do you like consuming your content? What platforms do you use?
As far as like listening content,
Yeah.
I use Spotify.
Spotify. Yeah. Do you have a favorite playlist? What's the vibe right now?
Honestly, I'm all over the place. It really depends. But the reason why I really like Spotify though is because, and this is not an ad. I'm
You're doing great already.
I'm
You're
plugging them
natural.
for free right now. But
right.
no, I really like it because they have really like a very good algorithm. And I've been using it for years and years. So when you like a song, you can easily make a radio, and it really does populate so well based on the things I like. So that's typically what I stick with. I feel like podcasting, I mean, at least for me, I really do enjoy multiple podcasts. And I used to be like an avid follower of a few of them where like every episode when it would drop each week, like I knew it was coming out and I would listen to it. But I guess I feel like I kind of more lean towards listening to music these days. Yeah. Yeah.
What does music do for you? Let's talk about music a little bit. Like, what does music do for
Um,
you? Does it get you out of a bad mood? Do you use it to empower you? How do you move that energy?
I don't know. I guess it really all depends on how I'm going into it with the mindset because, you know, if you're not feeling too hot at one point, you listen to sad music, that's not necessarily going to make you feel better. Sometimes it makes you feel even worse. I feel like it just I don't know. I love music though. It definitely gets me going, and it helps move the day along a little bit quicker for me too. Like I'm
Get
constantly
out of your head.
Yeah, I'm really constantly listening to music, whether it's on my headphones or most of the time, like I'll be at home and typically just on a speaker or whatever. But yeah,
What type?
I go all over the place, but I definitely really, really love like melodic techno.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I love
yeah.
techno.
Lots of festivals.
No, I'm not really a festival girl.
Not yet.
Country. Did you go all the way to
Country.
Yeah,
Get
so
all the way to pop with Justin Bieber?
yeah, Justin Bieber, of
Oh.
course. Oh my gosh. I mean, when I was 10, he was my favorite. Not so much now.
When he was
Donovan,
10.
you guys
When
have
I
something
was
in common
10.
here.
When
Look
she
at
was
this.
10.
When I was
She was
10,
10.
he was my
Donovan's a big fan
favorite.
of Justin
I'm a
Sure.
huge. I think Justin Bieber's a tragic case
Why? Why do you say that?
because I think Hollywood ran him over. And you
Oh,
see
yeah.
the predatory behavior of Hollywood with him, and it's all documented, it's all there.
Yeah.
But it reminds me of Elvis, and his manager. It's just like you have this ball of light, this human that has this angelic voice, this gift, and then everybody takes from it, and then it leaves him empty, and then he's lost, questioning himself. This is the only world he's ever known.
Mm.
I just feel so much sympathy for a guy like that because, my God, with such a beautiful gift, and then the way that people just take from it, and then you see him today, and then the worst part is they vilify him.
Yeah.
They vilify him. They say that he has substance abuse issues. They have this and they have that. But what about all the handlers that put those things in his hand in the first place? Because a child cannot get drugs,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I hate that side of the culture that will judge them when they're on the top and will be there to laugh at them when they get to the bottom.
yeah, and I sort of feel like that's the media, and they really everything sells for them. So if they can vilify him, that's obviously going to get a lot of views because he's very popular.
Right. And
Um,
it's because people love to see others fall.
of course. I mean, it sells.
There's the other
too.
side to that.
Let's dive into what's going on in the rap war right now.
Okay.
The rap war.
Familiar what's going on
Of
with
course.
Drake, Kendrick
Yeah.
Lamar. I mean, if you
Yeah.
throw on TikTok, it's
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
right now. Every
Catch me
like
up.
five scrolls, I see another video.
Yeah. Same.
I'm
What's your
I'm
thoughts?
still like trying to figure out what's happening with Diddy, and now we're Kendrick
Well-
Lamar and Drake is the new thing.
Oh yeah.
What's
Like-
what's
it's
the
like
beef?
Tupac and Biggie.
Who's winning? What are the points in the scoreboard over here?
So I guess it starts a really long time ago.
Where's
because they
Isha?
both
Sorry.
sort of came on the
S-
scene
s-
around the same time, I believe.
Yes.
I honestly want to say that it is very similar to the old East Coast, West
Yeah.
Coast, except Drake's not even from the East Coast, he's from Canada. The beef is basically started with this one song a few months ago where they were sneak dissing each other. And then Drake ended up dropping sort of a more direct diss track.
Yeah.
And then it's really just escalated into this whole, Kendrick is claiming that Drake's a pedophile. I don't know if I should
And
even
then
say
Drake
that, but
Drake kind of planted it, of course, he's saying.
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much we really believe that though, because why would you ever plant that about yourself? And it is
I
proven.
like it though, regardless of
Oh, I
what's
love
true,
it.
what's not true. It just brings me back to the 90s where it's just like that energy of rap where
Yeah.
like there's beef and people are just putting good lyrics together and it's exciting.
Yes, all of the songs. So I traditionally was a huge fan of Drake. I watched Degrassi growing up, and he was a main character on that show. And then as soon as he started to come up into music, his earlier music was so good. Now I feel like he's definitely, a big part of the industry. As far as a lot of his songs aren't necessarily coming from an authentic place anymore, I don't think. But Kendrick has never been that way. Like he is extremely authentic, I think. Like he's about that life. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And it is proven though. There is one member of Drake's posse, OVO. I want to say his name is 40. And I'm sorry, it's Baca. And it is proven he has been charged with predatory behavior towards a minor. And there's multiple people in his crew. Not that that has anything
You
to
really
do
know
with
about
his
this whole
own-
situation.
I
Wow.
do. Yeah, no, I'm very into it.
I know like the surface level stuff.
Yeah.
I just started seeing it on TikTok. Right. I'm a Spotify typical person. I listen to songs on
Yeah.
Drake's album, Kendrick Lamar, and
Yeah.
a lot of rappers, but I don't
like
get that.
any of the songs. that you've heard?
I'm one of those people like yourself. I could go all the way from Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber,
Yeah.
going to Justin Timberlake this summer, in Miami to watch his concert.
Mhm.
I like the Goo Goo Dolls.
Okay.
I like Metallica. Like I'm all over the map. I'm weird.
No,
Like
that's
my
good,
Spotify
though.
list will have like old school rap, like Big Pun,
Yeah.
and then some new school stuff. And I'm just all over the map. I love music. I get in my
Yeah.
car, I blast it.
Me too.
I drink a coffee, and I am just energized. And then I'll play just more rock and roll sometimes
Okay.
in different environments. And whatever mood I'm in, it's like that's what's playing, and I'm all over the place.
Yeah, I feel the exact same way. It's a good thing to get the mood going or keep the vibes going. Like, and that's honestly the biggest reason why I moved down to South Florida, because techno and electronic music it's absolutely huge here.
Well, let's talk about that difference, right? I moved from New York City to South Florida,
Yeah.
2017. It was a
Okay.
huge transition, right? I was
Yes.
used to this fast-paced lifestyle, literally in New York City, working on 42nd and Lexington,
Mhm.
coming down to South Florida, living in the suburbs of Parkland, right? My office in Boca, and it was a shift,
Mhm.
right? You go to Starbucks, and just the order process, people in front of you going
Yes.
slower.
Yes.
And not every Starbucks, certain ones were quick,
Yeah.
right? But sometimes you go to a restaurant and you're like, what are they doing? Like,
Yeah.
how are they not coming back to me to ask me what I would like?
Mhm.
And certain food selections down here. And, a lot of people struggle when they get down here because they're used to that fast pace. So tell us what your shift's been like.
I think that's a really good point, and I would probably attribute a lot of that to honestly the weather. Like I do feel like with it being so cold outside up north, the majority of the year, it's almost like we're always in a rush. Like you're in a rush to leave your house and get to your car and shield yourself from the cold. If you're going in somewhere and getting a coffee in the morning, you're in a rush because
That's an
of the
interesting
traffic.
perspective. I never thought of it from that point of view.
Yeah, it just like
the
it
cold
feels,
weather. So you're putting yourself in that position
Yeah.
to jump, right to your car, right to the subway,
Yeah.
right to your office.
Exactly.
Where in South Florida, you're like, wait, it's beautiful out.
Yeah, you
don't
stop
have
and
to
enjoy it,
Run 100 miles an hour. I could walk to my vehicle.
Yeah. I think that's what the difference is for me, for sure. Because I remember leaving my office, to walk to the car at the end of the workday. It's 5 p.m. and this is obviously before the daylight saving shifts, and it's the dead of winter, and it's dark out. you go into work, it's dark, and you leave work and it's dark. And so naturally you're obviously like deficient in sunlight, which is not good. And you are making the most like calculated moves
Yeah.
to make sure that you are at least the least cold that you could possibly be. Because I never liked the cold. Never.
I
I
can't
never
go back. Did
enjoyed
you ever
it.
go back?
Honestly, I mean, I can see it for what it is. So I really am thankful that I did grow up in the Northeast because, going to high school up in Massachusetts and my family being from Massachusetts, I do think there's something to say about the education.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I'm very thankful that I received because I went to public school too. It
Yeah,
wasn't
same here.
no private school or anything. And I do feel like because of the obvious political difference between here and there and all the social programs and the high taxes and things, there's definitely things where I do feel like it makes a big difference when you are paying more in your taxes. However, I don't think that can be said for everything.
What's your feelings when it comes to etiquette here versus up on the East Coast? Because I know a lot of people move down here and they're used to like someone holding the door, right? They're
Yeah.
used to the words thank you more frequently.
Yeah.
And even when it comes to text messaging,
Yeah.
emailing, just different type of business etiquette up north. And I saw a big
Yeah.
trend when I got down here in the business community. Just it didn't move as fast, but not even that. The etiquette just I felt like wasn't there. It's moved a lot further along
Hmm.
since 2017 because
Yeah.
more people have come down here, and when there's more competition, people have to really step up to the plate. But I
Mhm.
do sense like there's just something missing when it comes to etiquette in business and even on the personal side.
So I guess I can't really speak for that because I do live in Miami, which I definitely feel like it's very transient.
Yeah.
I don't meet a ton of people that are born and bred in Florida. A lot of the people that I've come into contact with throughout my time here have been just like me, from up north, moving down to enjoy the weather. I also kept my job from up north. So I
You're
don't,
still in the same north
but I
environment,
have,
by the way.
obviously with in the interview process, like I'm always really looking, no matter how happy I am at my current job, I'm always keeping an eye open, which I think everyone should do that. Because you never know if something better is around the corner and you won't know until you look.
Absolutely.
It's always good for me to keep interviewing too because it removes the shock value when you go in for an interview. Like you're like, oh, I've done this, I did this 2 weeks ago, even if it was a job that I never even would have taken if they offered it to me, but I would still, use it for the interview.
What
And
is
I've
unique is
noticed,
everyone's moving down here,
Yeah.
corporate wise.
Yeah.
Amazon, all these investment banks, VC
Definitely.
funds, angel investment fund, like everyone's putting, office locations in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm Beach. So
yeah,
it's an exciting time down here.
yeah, it has been great so far. I definitely have noticed like it is extremely uh in the development phase, I guess, especially in Brickell where I live. There's always new things popping up. Citadel is building a headquarters actually right next to my apartment building, which is very interesting. I'm not sure how that's going to go as far as rent. I'm sure in the area it's going to be even more,
You can't cover rent.
Well, Jonathan, take us home. Our final 2 minutes.
Land the plane.
Our final 2 minutes of this show.
Yeah.
Our day at this mansion. Tell our audience what they want to hear.
This is what you want to hear. If you want to stand out, and if you want to create an audience, if you want to build awareness around yourself or anything, there's a couple of elements that you really need to consider. Number one, I call it eye bugs. Easiest thing to remember. You need to live an interesting life. You need to have a brand silhouette. Look at how she's dressed right now. She's got the little blonde in her hair, the red necklace, the black dress, right? Now, let's say that she wore this in every video. If you were standing 100 feet away from somebody in an airport and she was dressed like this and she was always dressed like this, immediately you'd know who she is, right? Good brand silhouette. And in addition to that, so we have IBU. The next one is you need to have unusual ideas, right? Like everything is a pattern, and more patterns means less interest, right? Like if you ate the same thing for breakfast every single day, it wouldn't be special. Do something unusual, it makes it special. Now you stand out. The next is grit. You need to have grit. You need to be able to continue to move forward even though it's difficult and you can't see the finish line yet. And the last one is the inability to sell. Either sell yourself, sell your offer, sell your product, whatever it is. You need to be able to sell yourself. And you could do that through being confident, being self aware, all these different kinds of things. So that's it. Any thoughts from you? What is something interesting or exciting that you're going to be doing this year?
Interesting or exciting that I'm
Yeah,
going to
what
be
do you
doing
got?
this year. I am hoping to purchase my first piece of property.
Wow.
Yes, that's my goal for
You're
the
so
year.
young.
Yeah, so I'm going to be 26 in October, and I'm just really tired of paying rent. So I'm really going to try to make that my goal for this year, to have property and equity. And
Are we just going to buy a piece of land?
no, I'm going to get a condo.
You're going to get a condo?
Yes, I am. I am.
HOA.
I know.
Try to keep that at
Hey,
a minimum.
it's still probably going to be less than my rent.
Oh, you're
So,
good. As long as
yeah.
that's the case.
Yeah.
Also, special assessments. I can't tell you how many of those I've had.
Yeah.
It's the thing that they toss on top of the HOA, like, oh, we need to build a new roof.
Of course. A
So
parking
something that I
garage, stuff like
recommend,
that.
if you're looking at a place, check what the last time they got their roof done,
Yeah.
because there's a 40-year contingency plan that they have. You don't want to be close to that 40.
Yeah.
So there you
Absolutely
go.
not.
No. But get that condo, girl. We're proud of you.
I know.
So, anyways,
Thank
we're taking it home here at Owl Headquarters. New Owl Headquarters. Owl Headquarters? We're buying it soon. Thank you, everybody, and see you next time. How'd it feel?
It was good.
Yeah? Enjoyed it?
Yeah.
That's what we thought it was.
Yeah.
gonna be like.